Hey guys, long time since we've had a video, but let's go ahead and get started in our new chapter, chapter 7. Lesson 1, we're going to be talking about equations. So we're going up a level from what we've been doing. Today's date is 2/21/2020. So our notes are going to take 2 pages. It's going to take me 2 screens for the first one because first thing has a Venn diagram. You guys may have heard of a double bubble. I don't know why they changed the name. But we're going to be comparing and contrasting equations to expressions. So this should take about a third to a half of your page. You want to make this large because we're going to put things in all... Ooh, that's the most terrible looking circle I think I've drawn in a long time. We're going to be putting things in all of these sections. So for those of you who write large, make your circles large, okay? You know I can write a little bit smaller, so that's the deal. So how a double bubble or a Venn diagram works is you have 3 sections when you overlap 2 circles. The outer section on the left is just things that are true about equations. The outer section on the right is going to be things that are true about expressions. What goes on in the intersection is things that are true about both of them. So let's talk about equations, things that are unique to equations. And for the big thing here is that an equation is kind of what we would call a sentence. So it has a subject, a verb, okay, and a predicate. So it has everything it needs. It can stand alone. But on an expression, it's just merely a phrase. It's just a piece of something. I can't really do anything with it unless I'm told more information, okay? So what makes me able to figure out an unknown in an equation that I can't figure out in a phrase is the fact that I have an equal sign. So now I have stuff going on both sides of this equal sign, which allows me to actually figure out the value of an unknown. On the flip side, an expression, there's no equal sign. That's what makes it an expression. That looked like a G, didn't it? There we go. And let's see what else. So, because we have the equal sign in an equation, we can solve for the unknown value. We can solve for the variable. Solve for the variable. We have more information that'll allow me to do this. Okay, so this is the unknown. Now, unfortunately, on the other side, with the expression, I can't solve. The only time I can finish or come to an answer in an expression if somebody tells me what the unknown equals, or if it's just numerical. So I can only solve the expression only if the value of the variable is given. And we saw that when we were practicing with algebraic expressions, and then they would say like 2g plus 5 if g equals 6. So then we could substitute in 6 for g and solve out that expression using order of operations. Okay, so what's the same between an expression and an equation? Well, it can contain numbers. It can contain operations. So those are our basic add, subtract, multiply, divide. And they both can contain variables. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and go to the next screen. You guys are still on the same first page. So let's kind of pull out, and we'll take equation and we'll define it. We know characteristics of it, so let's just give it a quick definition. So it's a mathematical sentence. Mathematical sentence that shows 2 expressions are equal to each other. that shows that two expressions are equal to each other. Okay, so for example, 5 plus x equals 13. So I'm going to teach you ways to how to solve this without guessing, but for this first assignment, you're going to be substituting in given answers to see if they actually work, okay? But most people would say 5 plus 8 is 13, so I could guess that, okay? So what do we call that answer? That's called a solution. What is the solution to this equation? We would say that a solution is a number that makes an equation true. So we're going to be really launching into some deep, not deep, but algebra stuff in this chapter, where you're going to have to fight your elementary tendencies to guess a number, and you're going to have to actually solve for the number, okay? So let's go back to that example. 5 plus x equals 13. And again, a lot of people can say, yeah, I know that. That's going to be 8. And if I substitute in 8, I get a number that makes the equation true. Okay, so that's what we call true, is when we get what's on the left is equal to what's on the right. So the stipulation is if x equals 8, the equation is true. So that's what we're looking for when we're solving, is what does it make it true. So here's the problem. I mean, there's going to be a set of directions you're going to see, and it's going to say mentally. But again, what they're talking about mentally is the math facts, and you still need to show work. So we're going to be testing a group of numbers, and you've got to show the work, whether you get something that's true or something that's false. So this is the last time I'm going to let you guys use this method, because you're getting too big for this now, and this is called the Guessin check method. Now, there are times and places when Guessin check method is a starting point, but there's always a mathematical operation, procedure that you can follow that should give you an answer, okay? So how the Guessin check method is, it says you basically pick a number that you think will substitute for the variable and make a true sentence. In other words, what's on the left equals what's on the right. Now, you do actually use Guessin check when you're doing division, long division. You're estimating what you think, how many times your divisor is going to go into your dividend, and then you test it out, and if your remainder is too big, you need to adjust your guess. If you get a negative remainder, then you need to adjust your guess, okay? So if the number gives a false sentence, so something that isn't true, what's on the left does not equal what's on the right. Try another value. So if you guess an answer is x would have to equal 5 to make this true, you have to actually prove out that it does, okay? So let's do some examples. We're now on to the second page of our notes. And we title this second page, Lesson 7-1, Equations. And we are at 2/21/2020. Okay, so we have a couple different sets of directions we're going to follow. And it says, check the following numbers to see if there is a solution to the equation. Now, here's the deal. They're going to give you a group of numbers. 1 may work, 2 may work, all may work, none may work, okay? So you have to test them all. Even if you get one that's true, sometimes we have more than one correct answer to equations. Maybe the kinds that we're doing don't, but you got to be prepared for that. So here's how you might see the question written. Is 3, 4, or 5 a solution of the equation a plus 7 equals 11? So what we can do is do a chart for this problem. So the value of A, we're going to do our work column would be here, A plus 7 equals 11. We're going to test it. And then you can say, is it true or false? So true would be a solution, false would not be. And we are going to test the numbers 3, 4, and 5. Okay? So we would say A plus 3, and we want to know, sorry, I did that wrong. Let's try that again. I have not finished all my coffee. Let's try that again. A is the 3, or the 3 is the A. And so we do A plus, or 3 plus 7 equals 11. That gives me 10. Doesn't equal 11. So that's false. So what that says is 3 is not a solution. Okay. So then we test 4. And we have 4 plus 7 equals 11. And we get 11 equals 11. That's true. So we would say 4 is a solution. Now in this case it is the solution, right? Because it's the only one that's going to work. But we're going to test the last guy just to prove ourselves. And we have 5 plus 7. And we want to see if that equals 11. And I get 12. Oh, doesn't equal 11, so that's false. So our conclusion is 5 is not a solution. I'm going to go ahead and write number 2 offline and then come back. I would suggest that once it appears, you put the video on pause, write it down, and then continue along with me. Okay, so our problem is the total cost of a pair of skates and knee pads is $63. The skates cost $45. Use the guess, check, and revise strategy to solve the equation 45 plus k equals 63. To find k, the cost of the knee pads. Now, you guys should be familiar with this guess, check, and revise strategy because you've been using it on your solar ovens, where you guys kind of guessed how you should set up your oven. You guys did a temperature test. You didn't like what you got, a lot of you, so you said, okay, we got to go back and figure out where we needed, how to change things, add more insulation, so on and so forth. And then you did a revise, did it again, and then you went back and you revised again until you did the final. So it's the same idea, okay? So we're going to start with 45 plus k equals 63. So the deal with guess and check is you kind of give yourself a break of having to get the exact answer in your head, okay? So what you do is go, okay, I'm just going to start somewhere. I can add 45 and 15 pretty easily, so I'm going to try 15 and see what I get. So I get 45 plus my guess of 15, and I want to see if that equals 63. So when I add up, I get 60, but you know what? 60 is not equal to 63. So what I notice is that my guess gave me an answer that was lower than what I wanted. So that tells me, first, I'm going to have to guess something higher than 60. Guess higher than 60. Now, if I'm going to do the revise, I notice that 60 is 3 less than what I need. So that means 15 is 3 less than what I need. So based on that, we're going to revise. And I'm going to say, hey, try the number that's 3 more than 15, since 63 is 3 more than my guess of 60, right? So that's the revise, is you just don't willy-nilly just start throwing out answers. You guys do that to me in class, where you just start shooting answers out without even testing them, right? So at this point, use your intelligence, okay? So we're going to revise, and we're going to pick K is going to equal 3 more than 15, which would be 18. So let's test it out. And we get 45 plus 18 equals 63. So when I add up, I get a 13, and then we get 2 and 4 is 6. So we get 63 is the correct answer. So our conclusion would be the knee pads cost, not 63, remember the number we substituted in, $18. So this is what I call intelligent guessing and checking. Okay? All right, good luck with this, guys. See you on Monday. A Monday, finally, huh? Bye-bye now.